And there's Bruno Leali. It's amazing, isn't it? But once you pull on a race leader's jersey, what a better race you ride. He's now riding at the front, he's watching the moves. He's going to hang on to that lead for as long as possible. 18 seconds is the gap to this small leading group with Coccioli up here. De Las Cuevas is now tagged onto the back there, in fact, of Claudio Chiappucci. This is a good breakaway. There's little Claudio, who's had his great moments spoiled by Miguel Indurain in previous tours of Italy. And De Las Cuevas now reverting to the role of policeman there, because Chiappucci is far too dangerous to work with, and Coccioli's gone back into the field. And we've got the Mercatoni Uno riders. I think it's Baldato there. Now Bordelani, sorry, Fabio Bordelani, who has brought the riders up to Coccioli. De Las Cuevas will certainly speak Spanish. I'm not too sure whether he speaks Italian, because he's normally in the command of this rider here, Miguel Indurain, who's having to do a lot of work as well now. And that's a strange sight to see Indurain pacing the leader of the tour. It normally would be the other way around. But as the riders continue their climb up, it looks as though Chiappucci may have made a great move here. De Las Cuevas is hanging on, but doing nothing at all to assist the attack. About 15 kilometers to go to the finish, and we're on this climb now, which will take them up to 745 meters at Fontanella. Marvellous crowd, the north of Italy here, the fans loving their sport immensely. And there's nothing better for them than, of course, to see their man Claudio Chiappucci setting the pace, and now the chase down coming here from Leali's team. Roach coming up. In fact, Stephen Roach has got things to say here to the riders here of Leali, and I would think it would be something like, why are you chasing? Because Indurain is the man who should do the chasing. And because and in fact Roach almost fell there. There was a clash of wheels, and that's Indurain just fending Roach off. But I think, you know, Roach has a point, because Miguel Indurain is the rider who should really pick up the pace, although the unwritten rule might be that the leader of the tour should do the chasing. And Chiappucci now finding that De Las Cuevas also will not work, and I think they can see the field coming up here, and it's all over. Well, that's a shame. But that was a dangerous attack, and it's good to see that they are willing still to attack the leaders of this tour, and especially Miguel Indurain. But it's all over, and now the counter-attacks are coming. They're just over the top of this little climb, but it continues to be hard all the way to the finish. Now there's a number of attacks going off the front. Well, it's a good chance now. Leali has pulled this race back together with the help of the Banesto riders. He had to finish it off himself. Konishev is going clear here at the front. He's already got one stage win. He might be inspired by the fact he once won the Amateur Tour of Italy back in 1988, before he turned professional the following year and took the silver medal in the World Championships behind Greg LeMond. Bunyo here too, watching all of the time, riding quite a solid race, but seemingly unable to get away from the field. Well, I think Konishev has got clear of this field. Plenty of riders trying to catch him up. But there's a split in the main field here. No, in fact, Konishev is at the front of what is a split of about 20 riders. And this is Fondries now and Coccioli, and in fact that is Konishev trying to get on to the two leaders, but this is a good sprint from Maurizio Fondries here now, and he sees the finish. He hasn't won since the time trial on day one, but he's got the lead round the corner. So too has Coccioli gone with him. Coccioli's gone wide and sat up as Konishev takes it right on the line. Dmitry Konishev pulls the win out right on the line there, and that is a great win for him. Win number 2 for Dmitry Konishev. And it'll do nothing to alter the overall, though. Bruno Leali tonight will keep his pink jersey for another day, and at times that didn't look possible. Stephen Roach here has also ridden well as he stays in the front group. Things going according to plan so far for him, I think.
We'll wind it back and get it for you. Stephen, that was a lot harder stage than everybody expected to. What do you think of Chiappucci on the climb there?
An excellent go, you know, but unfortunately, like, they call Chiappucci the devil. The devil has no friends, only bad friends. And unfortunately, like the team of Leali who were defending the jersey, they rode like devils behind them, you know. So it was pretty unfortunate for Chiappucci because today Indurain wasn't on a great day today, and he could have gained like an easy minute on him today, you know, easily.
But really, to try and get rid of him, all the teams have got to try and attack him in the mountains. And today, the Mercatoni team played into his hands.
In Italy, there's 2 races. There's a race for the first place and a race for the first Italian. So that's the Bruno Leali and the Mercatoni Uno. They're riding in the second race.
What about a race for the first Irishman?
That's one already, yeah.
You rode very well today for the first time in the mountains. How do you feel for the next few days that are going to come up?
Well, not too confident really, you know. I hope to be there, but for how long I don't know. Like, you know, it's always the same problem when I hit the mountains or in time trials, like I said, my back problem. I get through one day and 2, you know. So hopefully the day that is hard, I will get through it.
Well, like you said today, Miguel Indurain looked as if he was in trouble. Do you think other riders will have seen that and they'll go for the big attacks?
Definitely, but who will attack? Like Bunyan didn't seem the best today either, you know, and Bunyan has to attack. So like if Chiappucci attacks on his own, it's not going to help anybody. If Bunyan must attack, Amstein must attack, like the other guys must attack, you know.
Chance missed perhaps then for the riders to steal a march over Miguel Indurain, but Dmitry Konishev delighted with his second win. And a second day in pink too for Bruno Leali. And he really couldn't have suspected this would happen to him in this year's Giro. Still got his 6 seconds lead over Indurain, 15 seconds over Fondriest. But the high roads are now with us and 2 mountain climbs today. And here's Paul Sherwin to tell us more.
Well, the first days in the mountains of a major tour is always very strange because the riders have had 10 days on the flat. They've been using big gears and they have to look for their mountain legs. One man who had his mountain legs very quickly yesterday was Claudio Chiappucci, but the gradient wasn't as steep as it's going to be over the next 2 days. The next 2 days are going to be very, very hard climbs, and that's when the real climbers will come to the front. It's not necessarily the weekend when the Giro d'Italia is going to be won, but for some riders it's definitely going to be lost. And riders like Chiappucci, Bunyo and Fondriest are going to have to try and attack Miguel Indurain and put him into difficulty. Many people thought he was suffering on the climbs yesterday, and if he was, this is the weekend when they have to try and dethrone him.
And that, Paul, is absolutely right. 2 climbs on the 217 kilometre stage, and this is the little breakaway which has formed 1 minute and 7 seconds clear. And riding right near the front of this group now is Piotr Ugrumov. A very good move by him, and should cause concern to Miguel Indurain and Bruno Leali still in the pink, quite literally. And this is a very, very strong chasing group now. It's the advanced party because the peloton has split. Luc Leblanc of France coming back into the picture now the roads are growing up. Leali and Ugrumov are the 3 riders strong there. Good move this by Andy Hampsten, getting his confidence back a little bit. He's always enjoyed his tours of Italy. First American to win the race in 1988, when he also won 2 stages. And he was 3rd in 89 and 5th last year, and riding well on these early climbs, over the top first. Now it's up to Ugrumov and Leali. Try and keep the pace. We head on now to the Passi Ores. And the gap is 1 minute and 12 seconds. This is Coccioli now trying to get across to the group. He's had a bit of a problem on that climb, and Coccioli now trying to rejoin that big group which is trying to form behind these 3 leaders as we go down. The pink jersey has dropped, by the way. He's lost 1 minute and 12 seconds. That's the latest. And not surprising too, so it's Indurain who is now the leader on the road. Coccioli has rejoined and is getting back into the chase group which contains Miguel Indurain. Time for a drink here. Former winner of the Giro d'Italia and lying 9th overall this year. What goes up comes down, you know, and it's another skill indeed to be able to descend and ending up to 80 kilometres an hour, 50 miles an hour on these roads in Italy. They're in many cases much more difficult than the roads in France for the Tour de France. They're narrower, they twist a lot, and you've really got to stay alert. Minute 12 seconds, still the breakaway. For many people who come to Italy, they feel that the Dolomites are the most beautiful mountain range here in Europe. They're not perhaps as high as the Alps, but they're certainly steep and tortuous. So Leali's group now is dropping away from it. We're now on the climb here of the Passo de Lerbe, and Hamston, Ugrumov and Massimiliano Leali is the rider from Ariostia. And again, this is a superb move here, especially by Piotr Ugrumov. Remember that he was the rider that won stage 3 into Scano and moved up to 2nd place overall. And Indurain would do well to keep an eye on him, because again, it's an opportunist move to try and cause a reaction from Banesto. And this is the group here, which contains the Mercatoni Uno team, and with it the pink jersey, and still on the wheel of Miguel Indurain. Well, he looks good. Chiappucci is there, and there is Argentina. We're very pleased with the fact that his teammate out on the front, Luc Leblanc. It's still quite a sizable chase group. And coming up towards the top of the Passo del Erbe, 31 kilometres remaining. Well, they won't know too much about Piotr Ugrumov, although he does a lot of racing here in Italy. He's not Italian, of course. He's doing the ride of his life, but they all know Andy Hamston. Coming up towards the top of the climb, and Hamston again in the lead, 2004 metres, and the best crowd so far, I think. The gap is a little more than 1 minute back to the Indurain pink jersey group. It looks as though they're content to let Andy Hamston do all of the pacemaking. Piotr Ugrumov in 2nd place as they come through the crowds. Hamston feels his chance is good now to reclaim a little bit of time he's lost over the last couple of weeks. 1 minute 35 seconds is the latest time check as they come up towards the summit. And Andy has really made all of the pacemaking up here. And Leali is in 3rd place, where he's been for much of the climb. Now the long drop down. The hills aren't over yet. Gianni Bugno. Still, the pink jersey is hanging onto the wheel there of Miguel Indurain. He's not giving him an inch. This has been a good climb for him, and it is amazing, but when you pull on a race leader's jersey like this, you become a second rider. Superb riding by Leali. And his team also have risen to the occasion too. They've really kept this chase group together. They've set all of the pace, but of course they are doing all of the pacemaking and giving Miguel Indurain an easy ride. It doesn't look like an easy ride. You can see the face of those Gerard Rouet just ahead of Indurain. He's the faithful lieutenant. And again, Leali dodging round riders to keep stuck onto that back wheel there of Miguel. And there's the clock. It's come back a little bit. 1:35 over the top is the gap. So it's nothing yet, but Ugrumov is the man in pink. He's up the road. And I must say that the Mejia team of Moreno Argentina have had a great tour so far. It all began so well for them when Argentina won that opening stage. Then Ugrumov moved himself right up into 2nd place at the end of stage 3. Now a very, very difficult descent, this one. Way down. And quite clearly Ugrumov is not a good descender. And in fact, I think it is Massimiliano Leali who is doing the pacemaking down the front with Andy in the middle. Brakes full on here for yet another hairpin bend. Thankfully the roads are dry. And Ugrumov is fighting here to keep them in sight, so they're going down so well. This is the chase group, and the gap is beginning to close. That's Rouet for Banesto leading the charge down. The gap is down to 1 minute and 15 seconds. De Las Cuevas having a very good Giro as well. And there's a problem. Maurizio Fondriest, 3rd overall, or at least he was, 15 seconds off the pace, and he's got a problem, a rear wheel puncture. And that was in the group containing Indurain, where he's come from. But he's still got a problem here. Either the brakes are rubbing, I think it's the brakes. And he's off again. Well, he's losing time, and this is rather unfortunate for Maurizio. and the team car appears to have gone on. But he's off again. Now he's going to get back into his rhythm. There's still a reasonable distance to go, somewhere about 25 kilometres to go for the finish. Well, this has been the day of Andy Hampsten. He's been left to do most of the heavy work in this leading group. Ugrumov is back after the descent, and it looks as though Fondriest is also beginning to step up the pace a little bit, but there's still a long empty road ahead of him. There's no sign of the Indurain group. Well, I suppose we should really call it the Leali group, shouldn't we? He's the leader at the moment. Dear me, well, the motorbike getting a little bit in the way there. That's a shame for Fondriest, because he's now can get into the tail of the group here if he's lucky. He's starting to see the riders he left. We've gone back up to the leaders now. Ugrumov now prepared to do the chase because the kilometres are coming down. Just inside 13 to go, and Ugrumov really must sense now he could be pulling off the coup of the day and become the new leader here. But the gap is coming down. It's holding 1:16. Miguel Indurain, for once, looking a little bit as though he really is under pressure. Leali sitting there watching, having a great day out. He could well defend that pink jersey if he can keep this up and rely heavily on Indurain to close the gap down. Seconds. So, to be anticipated, I suppose, but it is coming down. Now, can they salvage just enough for Ugrumov to get the race lead? Leali. And this is Leali. Now he's got to the front. He's feeling confidence is growing with him now, because this was the day the axe should have fallen, and he's saying, no, it's not. He's starting to come back into this race very, very much now. He's taken over the pacemaking. Indurain back into third place. And Miguel must be impressed by this rider, who's possibly the oldest rider in the race, Bruno Leali. His great day came in '87 when he was the Italian champion. And Ugrumov has given a lot away here. He was 22 seconds off yellow, still is in the, off pink rather, he still is in the pink jersey if he can hold it. Leali is also there. Hampsten has had a great day out. This is the old Andy Hampsten, the man who won the Giro d'Italia back in 1988. Bunyo's gone now from the group. Now surely they can't let Bunyo go. He'll cause a reaction which might end this breakaway. So Bunyo has snapped the elastic, and there's a reorganisation here. Banesto, a little bit of panic. The Banesto team, led by Rouet, a French member. And look at this. Gianni Bunyo, 18 seconds back to the chase group. They're all closing in, but Bunyo's reached them first. And Bunyo is not even going to give them a chance to get their breath because he's going straight by. Hampsten's latched on. Gianni Bunyo, well, he looks at last like the man who won the world title for the last 2 years. He's growing in confidence as well as this race goes into the mountains. This will be a marvellous result for him. It will give him back all of his old courage if he could just pull off the stage win now. But the field are closing in very, very fast indeed as we approach the finish. Andy Hampsten up here at the front. The four are just about hanging on. Ugrumov over to the right of our picture, but Indurain is bringing them up and bringing them up very, very quickly indeed. De Las Cuevas is up there too. The Banestos have had to work hard for this one, but amazingly it's coming back together almost on the line. 6¼ hours in the saddle, and Bunyo is waiting for somebody to open up the sprint, and Bunyo won't do it. As Bunyo tries now to coax somebody into the lead, Indurain himself is coming on the far right, and he's got Argentine tucked in nicely. Leali is there too, who would have believed that? But Argentine now surely is the man to watch. He's in second place as they start for the line. Now Argentine is going. Moreno, Argentine is going, and this is going to be a wonderful stage win for Moreno. Having seen Ugrumov caught, he cleaned up for the Mechia team, almost the reverse of what happened on stage 3. And now it is a victory, the second one of the Giro for Moreno, Argentine. And that's a reminder he's still very much in this race overall.
Andy, that was an incredible stage today. You tried exactly what you wanted to do to try and get a little bit of time before we got to the bottom of the climb, and then...
Yeah, it worked out better than I thought. My Motorola teammates were in a break. There's all these little breaks going, but usually it just stays together, but we got in a nice group of 15 or 20, and I had 2 teammates. They did a lot of work, so we had a good lead on the climb. And the other group came up to us, but I knew that they'd be pretty tired. And in the book, it said it was going to be 14%, and it was never more than 8 or 9. But you know, I attacked after, oh God, I don't know, 5 or 6 kilometers on the uphill with Ugrumov and Leali, but Leali wasn't working. So the 2 of us were doing all the work. You know, and it was still a good situation. We were picking up some time, but I guess it never really broke up behind us.
It was difficult, I think, having Ugrumov with you because he was only 5th in the overall standings this morning, so they had to chase behind, and the team of Mercatoni did an incredible job to chase you down.
Yeah, they're very strong. And, you know, the race worked out their way, but, you know, it's good for me to go out there and do my race. I have to recover for tomorrow. It's even a better opportunity for me tomorrow because today was really only one long climb and a couple short ones. But tomorrow will be a real bit of work.
Well, these are happy days in the twilight years for 35-year-old Bruno Leali, pulling on a pink jersey on the day he was supposed to have lost it here in the Dolomites. Moreno, Argentine, winning the stage by Leali, and Leali not working, as Andy Hampson told us, profiting there by taking 2nd place on the stage, Bunyo getting 3rd. Overall, Leali 6 seconds ahead of Indurain, Argentine having a magnificent tour, up in 3rd place, Fondriest is 4th. But it's showdown time now in the Dolomites, the longest stage in the highest mountains, 250 kilometres. And surely now something will be decided. And Bruno Leali, well, I wonder what sort of night's sleep he had, thinking of that pink jersey on the end of his bedpost. 4 first category climbs during the stage, 1 second category climb, and over the last half of the stage, it's all uphill. One man who won't be afraid of that is the King of the Mountains leader, Claudio Chiappucci. Gianni Bunyo still very much remains a challenger in the Tour of Italy this year. And Franco Coccioli, memories of his 1991 victory. And then the rider who succeeded him, Miguel Indurain. But the mountains, you know, are not the friends of everyone. Here's Paul Showing with Stephen Roach.
Well, Steve, yesterday was the first day in the mountains, and you were a little bit suspect. You didn't know exactly how you were going to react, but you were still there at the end.
Yeah, well, I'm sure how I'm going to react. Yesterday was a fairly hard day in the mountains. You can see it in the end, but today is a very, very hard day in the mountains. No, it's even too long for this kind of a race, I think, you know, but that's the way it goes. We're here now, we got to carry on, you know. It'll depend, I think, on how they go over the first hill and then also the Marmolada, which is very, very hard.
What do you think is going to happen? Because so far, Indurain's team hasn't really been put under pressure because the Italians have all been fighting to try and get the pink jersey or to keep hold of it, like Bruno Leali's team.
It's very strange, like, but when you look at the general classification for the moment, the first 20 riders are on in about 2 minutes, so any of those riders can go away, and if one of those riders go away, who's going to ride behind? Like, today a team is not really good for you unless you have a couple of strong guys. But like yesterday, the Mercatoni Uno surprised everybody, so maybe today they will surprise us.
What about your teammate, Claudio Chiappucci? There's a big crowd here today, and he's a showman.
Yeah, well, like yesterday, even with the crowd yesterday, he couldn't perform. He wasn't on a good day, but it was better having a bad day yesterday than having it today. So I think today he'll be, hopefully anyway, he'll be able to do something. But if he goes well, it'll hurt everybody, you know. That's the problem.
Well, Claudio Chiappucci, of course, did that wonderful breakaway last year to nearby Sestriere, also in Italy in the Tour de France, which put him amongst the annals of the great mountain climbers of the Tour de France. This is a tough one today, though, and Bruno Leali must be a worried man as he pedals away with his Mercatoni Uno team all around him. And this is Franco Vona here, Eduardo Chozas. These are the early attacks. 123 kilometres now, approximately halfway into the stage. Hampston is here again, so his leg's not hurting too much after yesterday's ride. Number 46 there is Laurent Madouas, who's turning out to be a good new rider on the French Castorama team. And this is Pulnikov at the front now, alongside his teammate Chiappucci, Hampston knowing the wheels to follow. Well, these are the lower slopes, the first time up the Pordoi Pass. They've got to come up it once more yet. Still a long way to go. Eduardo Chozas following the wheel of Vona. And now Chiappucci here is setting the pace. Pulnikov is the rider alongside him, and it looks as though Vona has got rid in fact, of Chozas. And a massive crowd here, without doubt the finest point of the day to come and watch the race, because they come up in twice. Franco Bona, so often a champion of the Alps in the Tour de France, in his own way, is now having to try and stay away from the chase group here. Yaskula is in this group, so too Pavel Tonkov in the white jersey, Miguel Indurain, there's Luc Leblanc, Moreno, Argentin, Fondries, there's some good names in that leading group. And the man with 91 kilometres to go, facing this corridor of noise on the climb here, Porto Pass, first time a magnificent crowd. And a very orderly one indeed too for the Italian Tifosi. And coming up towards the top, Franco Bona's going to have no trouble at all in being the first rider over the top of the climb. And that must be a good feeling. Time to start the descent, just taking a final drink on board before he goes down. This is the others on the way up. Chozas is in between, don't forget, he'll go over in second place. And this is the battle here, with Andy Hamster moving up for King of the Mountain points and Chiappucci quickly taking him. Kulnikov dropping back a little bit, it looks to be around 35 seconds as they come up towards the summit. Andy Hampsten goes over the top, he'll be in third place from Chiappucci. 38 seconds it is. Chiappucci just checks over his shoulder, as he so often does, to see what's happening, and I think he said something there to Andy Hampsten, maybe to let the group come back together. This is the group containing Leali, and look at the gap, almost 2 minutes down, so he's in a little bit of trouble now, Bruno Leali, but he's experienced enough, it's a long way still to go. He knows they've got some hard climbs to come. It might be early days to start panicking. So Leali starting the descent, and in this group too there is Gianni Bugno, so he's almost 2 minutes off the pace as well. Down towards the bottom of the town of Biella, and still it looks like Bona's still got the lead on his own. He's pulled the cap on now to keep his head warm on the way down. Chozas is still chasing him. Well, this really is a tough circuit. And now Claudio Chiappucci in a reformed bunch here. Had a chat there with Stephen Roach, and it looks as though they're starting to move around all of the Carrera riders. It might be they're trying to organise something. Indurain is in this group, and in fact there has been a couple of riders bridge the gap on the descent there, because there's a small group forming at the front. This is Dmitry Konishev here. Eduardo Chozas is here. Fondries has come up. Now there's an interesting move, and there's a full list of the group. The other man is Roberto Conti, joining the first attackers at Bona and Chozas. 22 there is Chozas, and in fact this is Gianni Bugno who's trying to bridge the gap. Well, Bugno has come across a gap of some 2 minutes to join the group containing Indurain and co, and he's gone clear of them at the start here of the Marmolada climb. It's the first time we've really seen Bugno take the bull by the horns and have a go. This is the group he's left. There is Chiappucci, Pavel Tonkov is here, Hampsten. And they don't look too worried as they start the long climb of the Marmolada. It's a real hard climb. There's Stephen Roach there explaining something of the climb. Zenon Yasku is here, and the pink jersey has got back as well. That's a superb ride. Looks a little bit the worse for wear for it, but nonetheless. And it looks as though Bugno is coming back as well. He's been picked up here by Chiappucci, number 31, and Miguel Indurain. Pavel Tonkov, the Russian rider, former junior world champion. Best young rider in this race 1 year ago, and in the white jersey again, and they've gone right past Bugno. Nobody even looked at him because they're still the leaders up front. Bugno never made contact with them, and in fact he's losing contact with this forward group. So Bugno is losing contact. The man who once reached his world #1 ranking because of his formidable riding in the Giro d'Italia is now seeing the race ride away from him. That really is a sad sight. He made his effort today, and it hasn't paid off. He's blown. The Marmolada is a tough little climb. As we see Conti, Ugrumov, Kulnikov and Leali here. And this is the group that's forming in the front. Bona appears to have dropped back. And Pavel Tonkov hanging on to two very good pairs of wheels in the shade of Indurain and Chiappucci. But but the whole field has splintered on this climb of the Marmolada. It's turning out to be the decisive climb of the day, I think. Leali has also been shattered out of this group. And we're now looking at the new leading group here. Leali is up here, so too is Conti. Tonkov has come up, Chiappucci, Indurain, a very select little group indeed. They've picked them all up on the climb. And now as we climb up towards the